all about using your creativity to help your business flourish. And I'm joined by the 3 lovely panelists that are all part of our Spring 2024 FoundHER cohort. So excited to get started. Just to start off, can you guys each share a little bit about your businesses that you have?
Hi, my name is Sophia. My business is Sophy Rosy Shop. It's pretty much, my business just functions as a way for me to sell my art, a more curated version of it. So things that are more whimsical and bring joy, and I sell things in all different mediums.
Hi, my name is Marley Brownlow. I'm a freshman at McCombs, and my business is called One Love Beads. And One Love Beads does beaded bracelets that reflect my passion for the ocean, and my mission is to one day be able to donate a portion of my profits to help young women who are battling cancer or have lost a loved one to cancer or are impacted by cancer in any way, shape, or form.
Hi, I'm Olivia Brady. I am the founder and designer behind Saturday Silks. We create officially licensed collegiate silk scarves and twilly scarves, if you know what that is. And we started in 2020 at the height of COVID. I needed something to do when I graduated from UT, and almost 4 years later, and looking forward to what's to come.
Thank you all. How did using your creativity ultimately contribute or influence the start or success of your business?
For me, it's one of the more obvious answers that by creating art, it's inherently a creative process, but it allows me different ways to think of new product ideas that maybe I haven't seen before, I haven't been creative before, and innovative ways of creating those products in more ethical and environmentally friendly manners.
I decided to sell my jewelry at a surf shop in Port Aransas, Texas, which is a surf town, but it's also kind of a tourist attraction. So I thought it would be smart to start my bracelets off at a place where it appeals to the water-loving community. And I also decided to name my business One Love Beads because my mom named me after Bob Marley. And I think that One Love really reflects my mission because One Love stands for people coming together to love each other and create peace.
I started Saturday Silks as kind of, I was looking for a product in the game day realm that was a little bit heightened, and I wanted to merge the traditional heirloom quality of a silk scarf with your classic just game day apparel. So I used creativity to try and, think of ways to take university branding, like the logo of UT or even like the A&M logo and stuff, typically stuff that isn't that creative looking or pretty, and I figure out ways to take their branding and guidelines of each university and create something amazing from it.
Marley, this one's for you. Where do you find your most creative inspiration?
I find my inspiration from my passions. I have a passion for the ocean. I love snorkeling. I love playing the drums, and I grew up with my family's band, and we do like Jimmy Buffett covers and surf songs. So I've always just loved all things tropical and island vibes. So that is how my bracelets are, and I just really want my business to reflect my personality.
I love that. For everybody, can you share a specific instance where thinking creatively led to a breakthrough moment or innovation in your business?
For me, one of the things I like to do is I make earrings of all different types, but usually through mediums that I haven't seen earrings made through before, such as like ceramics or hand-sewn embroidered felts, or even using something similar to shrink eatings. So I'm using materials in creative ways and then making sure I'm repurposing that material in a way that's still durable and meets the need of the product. It won't fall off your ear. It has some weight to it, but it isn't too heavy, stuff like that.
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, so sorry. Can you share a specific instance where thinking creatively led to a breakthrough moment or innovation in your business?
So I decided to inspire my mission from my mom passing away from cancer 4 years ago. And I decided to, like I said, my mission is to one day be able to help young women who are struggling from cancer. And I also hope to one day lead workshops for young women to help them through overcome adversity and also persevere while grieving.
I'm trying to think of a time we had to be innovative. I because all of our scarves and merchandise are officially licensed, it kind of takes, it's a big like lift, and it takes a lot of energy to get that done. And so right now we have 2 products, it's a large silk scarf and a long twilly scarf, which is what I'm wearing. And so I had to kind of think of ways to add to our product line without, creating more, just think of new ways to use the products too. And so we developed like sliders and charms and little rings that you can accessorize your scarves with. And it's kind of a way to upsell a customer too if they're looking for a little add-on for their scarves. It's a way to get a customer to come back for that second purchase or third purchase. And people always like seeing, a new way to wear something. So I would say that's probably that.
So, creativity often involves taking risks. Can you discuss a situation where you took a creative risk and how it positively impacted your business? You guys can start with it too, whatever.
Yeah, I can start. So in addition to what I was just saying about the licensed game day products, we got a ton of requests from customers and friends about products that weren't just game day or collegiate themed. And I was hesitant at first because I was like, oh, we have a niche, that this is working for us, like let's stay in this realm. But I kind of, thought about it, and I created a line of just like Texas themed products. It still had a theme, it still had kind of a vibe with it. And but I was nervous about it. I was like, this is kind of a risk. We're stepping out of my comfort zone. But it paid off because it gave us, or let people see that we had range in our products and range in the design behind it too. So now I've been approached by, I've designed stuff for the Houston Texans, I've designed stuff for spas and hotels and the Houston Rodeo. And so it really showed, the variability in the product as well as the design.
I think an entrepreneur with any product is taking a risk because you never know if your consumers will like it. And my jewelry really reflects my personality, so it's kind of just based on what's selling and what isn't. So that's a big risk and it also is opportunity cost of your time. And as a college student, time is very valuable. So it's also a risk that I put a lot of time into my business when I could be studying or going to orgs, which I'm really involved in orgs. But it is definitely the opportunity cost of time that's a risk.
For me, when I first started my business, I was at home, I was my senior year of high school, it was the pandemic, sitting there for a year thinking, what am I gonna do with my time? And I said, well, I'm already making art, why not sell it as well? Make a little bit of money from my hobby. And I said, well, if I'm gonna turn this into a business, it has to be like, real products that people would actually buy. So I kind of went all the other way from my art and my passions to what I thought people would buy, but still made by me, still handmade. And what I found was those products were kind of soulless, and they would sell, but not very quickly. Like it took me some years to get rid of some of that stuff, if I wasn't making a lot. And at some point I realized this isn't actually a good reason to be running a business. I'm making art on the side and I love it, and then I try to alter it to fit some imaginary mold I think it should be. And obviously it's not going to do that well because people can tell there's not like that heart behind it. So I said, okay, I'm going to try a couple new products that are definitely a little more weird, a little wonkier, but I actually enjoy making more and I think are more interesting. And of course people could tell that there was more passion behind it, and just hands down the products were better. And so they sold much faster. And now I have more freedom and feel I can take more risks with the products that I make with their design. Sometimes it pays off, sometimes it doesn't, but I definitely gain a lot more enjoyment through the process, and the customers also appreciate the products a lot more.
Thank you. This one is for Olivia. Collaboration is key to creativity. How do you engage with your community to generate innovative ideas?
I'm at the point in, I'm run down the line of universities. So I've got, all the Texas schools and, neighboring states. And my most recent design that I've done is for the University of Tennessee. And when I was doing Texas schools, even, OU and LSU and Ole Miss, I'm like, oh, I've got this. Like, I know enough about these schools to, kind of piece together elements of, their traditions and the state even that would make, a great design for a scarf. But when I got to Tennessee, I was like, okay, I know nothing about the school other than they freaking love their orange. So I just did a poll on Instagram, and I don't really like doing that because I think that in the past I haven't liked doing that because it kind of clouds my judgment on things, or it has the potential to. But it worked out because I had a lot more Tennessee fans for customers than I thought. And there's actually one person in particular that I messaged with back and forth, and she gave me a lot of really nice feedback. And so I think it's just always nice to don't be afraid to ask questions of people that you don't even know. So.
As entrepreneurs, how do you balance the need for structure and planning with the spontaneous nature of creative thinking that comes along with design and the arts?
So for me, as an artist, sometimes you're inspired to make art, and sometimes you're not. And you kind of go through a dry spell of like, I can't draw anything. So what I found is helpful, it takes a bit of time, but after like a year or so, I kind of built up like a steady set of like reliable products, like stickers, that I have the one design, I can order it over and over as I need them, and they'll always be there for me. And as I sell those, I have a little bit of free time to like sit, I can go out, find some inspiration and make art and not feel rushed to constantly be producing. So having that base of reliable product that I know appeals to a wide audience gives me more time to make those more risky products and experiment more with my art making.
I try not to let the structure and planning part get too much in the way of my creativity and limit it. I really try to, whenever I come up with a creative idea, I try to take action on it right away so I don't forget about it. And another thing is that planning while you're in school is very hard, and I really utilize Google Calendar when I'm planning my schedule because I'm very involved in student orgs, and obviously you have to study a lot. So I do find it difficult to find the time to work on my business, but I am working on it.
It's something that I struggle with literally all the time. I feel like I'm very much a person that, I have my highs and lows with creativity, and sometimes I'll feel like I'm, in a rut, and I'm like, oh, I just can't even think about designing a scarf today. And it's proved difficult. But I have learned to manage that in ways that I don't even know. It's something that I'm still very much trying to figure out for myself. I do know that I'm very, influenced by my environment. So if I know that I really, like I have today blocked off that I really need to get X, Y, Z done, and I might not be feeling 100% creative, but I know that if I make it right, then I will be. So I try and, turn on my lamps and light a candle and stuff. I'm just trying to get me in the mood. I don't know. So.
Can you share an example of a creative marketing or branding strategy that contributed to the growth of your business, or have you seen or thought of one that you would like to try?
Full disclosure, just deleted Instagram because my personal account is making me feel kind of poopy. Problem is, I still have to market through social media for my business account. It's like, this is a new challenge that I'm facing of, I still want to reach my audience, I still want to put things on the app that make people happy, because that's always a good thing in my opinion. How do I do that now that I'm not on it? So that's definitely been a challenge, and I've been finding unique ways around that, of setting specific time aside for me, once a week, of going through the trends, finding the things I like, then mass producing 4 reels and just scheduling it to go off during the week. And I try to find things, trends I like, and I kind of try to make it my own, try to add a bit of humor, and ensuring that I'm still putting my own unique twist on it. So I'm showing a product that's really special to me, my art process, things that no one else can really show in the same way.
I really want to utilize Instagram more. I use it a lot personally, but I need to come up with better ideas of pictures to post and having a pretty feed for my business, so I'm kind of figuring that out. I'm also hoping to get more confident with my TikToks and be more active on TikTok for my business, because that's kind of scary to become, or try to become an influencer or whatever, but I want to be more active on TikTok. I also plan to hopefully have a branding photo shoot this summer at the beach. I hope to take some of my friends to the beach and do a little branding photo shoot so then I can have more stuff to post on Instagram, because in the wintertime, Austin isn't the prettiest for the beachy vibes, but maybe I can take some pictures of Barton Springs pool. Another thing is that a good marketing strategy for me is that I think it really appeals to people when your business wants to help somebody. And I really look up to Kendra Scott because she has a philanthropy-based business, obviously, and it's jewelry. So I think that's a good marketing strategy because it gets people attracted to your product and business.
I would say the most recent thing that I've kind of done marketing strategy-wise, it wasn't planned at all. There's just like a little TikTok trend about girls, tying ribbons on their boots over the fall, and I was like, what if I, made a reel, like against my will, the whole TikTok reel thing. I'm so bad at it. Pains me, to do. But I made a reel of me tying my little twilly on my boot as just a way to kind of, one, piggyback off of a trend that's, on the up and up, and two, like just show another way that someone can use my product, and it worked out. I've showed it like at markets, I've displayed it that way, and people really, really like it. Even it leads to people buying 2 of the product too, so they can have it on each boot, which is good.
I'll also add 2 quick things. I know when starting your business, it's overwhelming how to pick how you're gonna market, and I tried to do it all at first. I was like, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube videos. I was overwhelmed and burnt out quickly. My advice would be pick one thing and stick with that, and then when you're feeling comfortable and you've got a steady schedule going, then maybe try to add another.
Awesome. Okay, Sophia, this one's for you, so I'm gonna pass it right back to you. In what ways have you integrated customer feedback and insights into your creative process to better meet the needs and expectations of your customers?
One of the main ways I often take feedback is through when I sell at markets, which is right now my main way of selling products. My very first market ever, it was outdoors. I bought a tent, so it was up top, a little bit wobbly because I didn't set it up right. I had my table, no tablecloth, things kind of wonky spread out. But I was super proud of this one thing I had done, where I had made some stud earrings. And they were all different, so you could mix and match as a customer and pick the ones you wanted. And I displayed them on a cork board, so I stuck them in little thumbtacks, all pretty, for people to pick the ones they wanted. And I was so proud of this. And someone came up to me and she was looking through them. She says, "Can I give you some customer advice, unsolicited advice?" I said, "Yes, please!" Because it was my first market and I had no idea what I was doing and I recognized that. And she said, "You kind of, all these designs really haphazard. It'd be a lot easier for me to tell what's happening here if you had them organized by subject." So I had all the apples in one spot and all the flowers in another spot. And at first I was like, it's so creative that I have them all mixed in. But then I tried to think about it from the customer's perspective, which she gave to me. I realized, oh, she is so right. How is a customer supposed to know what I offer when I don't even offer it to show in an organized way? So little things like that, always be open to advice. Try, obviously, your products yourself. I'll try a pair of earrings and oh, they're really itchy, or oh, they fell out of my ear. And that means I can't sell it, I shouldn't make more of it, and I shouldn't even try to get rid of it anyway. That's not what I want to associate with my business. Definitely always having your Instagram, if that's what you use, open, DMs. Always say when you sell something to someone, if there's any issues, please get back to me, I'll help you right away. And definitely people will reach out to me I love your product. I noticed this with it, once or twice, I've worn it for years, and the stitching's coming down. I say, I'll send you a free pair. So stuff like that, just making sure you're still building community connections, and listening to what people have to say.
Awesome. All right, are there any brands whose creativity you admire? You can start with her.
Yeah, person. I really admire Kendra Scott, like I said, because she has a philanthropy-based business and she does jewelry. And I love how her brand is so identifiable. Like she really sticks to her brand and built such a strong brand. So I really look up to her. I also love this small business from Sarasota, Florida, and her name's Abby, and she is called Coastal Creations, and she does beachy jewelry, kind of like me, but it's like seashells, and she collects them from the actual beach. It's so cute. So
I obviously follow a lot of other artists who sell their art, like Leigh Alexson, for Little Peach, Apple Cheeks. Some of you may have heard of these people. A lot more on YouTube. But a little catch I find myself with is, oh, they're the artist that's done it right, and they have a following, and they make a living off this. So I need to do what they do in order to be successful. But if I'm trying to do everything they do, even if I'm in my own style, then I'm not really unique anymore. It's a way to compete, but it's not a way to make myself different. So, I still have to find the balance between I admire them, but what are some specific things I admire that I can put in my own business without just trying to be a copycat? And one of the reasons customers keep coming back to me is because my stuff is so different from everything else that's out there, so I have to be very conscious about not letting myself get insecure by the fact that these artists seem to have it all. When I can have that too, it'll just take me time to get there, but it won't happen just by trying to do exactly what they did.
All right. Do you have any best tips and tricks you would like to give the audience on keeping the creative juices flowing throughout your daily life?
I always seems like so stupid and probably what everyone else is gonna say, but just keep a notepad on you or even like notes app on your phone. Just always have that at your ability to grab. If you sometimes I'll get just like random ideas in my head, or like I'll see something and I snap a quick picture of that so that I have it like in my database to refer back to. Even like I get like ideas randomly when I'm showering or when I'm trying to go to bed, so that's just really helpful to quickly jot it down to refer back to.
I always try to connect things with whatever scenario I'm in to my personal life to kind of just think of ideas of how I can make more styles in my bracelets, and I do utilize the Notes app on my phone for reminders and all those things. This is kind of oddly related, but I always try to turn a negative situation into something positive, and I always try to find the good in negative situations. Even if it's not necessarily negative, I just always try to find the good in everything, which kind of keeps me in an open mind and willing to create more creative ideas. And yeah.
There's this book called The Artist's Way. I forget who by. I only got through like chapter 1, but in that first chapter, they recommend doing something called artist dates, where every week you set at least an hour aside for yourself to do nothing but just explore. You're not allowed like a phone or a computer, like checking email, just like exploring something. So like going to the botanical gardens and sketching for an hour, or going to an old shop you went to when you were really little that's really nostalgic for you and buying old snacks that you haven't eaten in years. Just doing something where you're fully immersed in that experience and that has no relation to your everyday life, and that's different. Just trying to like take it all in and immerse yourself in an activity that you don't really usually get to do. And I find that is helpful in like reinvigorating my artistic battery pack, if you will, of like when I'm feeling burnt out. Just one of those little experiences of making art with no pressure for it to be a product or to sell it or it to be good, or even trying to make art that's ugly. I find that really helpful in remembering why I'm doing this in the first place is that I enjoy it.
All right, now we're gonna open it to the floor for questions. So if you have a question for something specific or all three of them, feel free to raise your hand and you can go ahead and answer.
What was the process in finding your personal niches like?
The question was, what was your process of finding your personal niches for those in the back?
I'd say I'm still finding it, but I would also say focus on what brings you joy, because you're not going to get very far in the business if you're dreading every moment of it. So for me, like with different mediums of art, are there some I enjoy more than others? Yes, then focus on those. Look at other business people or creative people that you like. Find the patterns like, oh, I really like how they're all doing things on really big canvases. Try to emulate that in your own work.
I really like to make my business unique to my personality because I think that's really good for branding, building a strong brand if it reflects your personal life and your interests and your passions, and that really draws people in, especially when you have a mission to impact the world.
Finding my customer niche was actually pretty easy once I figured out that I wanted to do collegiate themed products because, colleges, you have students and alums, it just comes natural. It was more so getting to the collegiate part was difficult, but once I got there, like the niche was there, and so I highly recommend doing game day themed products, just not game day silk scarves.
Yes.
I have a question for Olivia. I totally just followed your Instagram while you were saying this. And with looking, I just wondered, like, did you have any experience with design before you started? Or, like, because you also went to UT, just like kind of that transition from getting to the creative realm?
I've always been, creative, and I was a practicing graphic designer like throughout college, and I do like little logo projects and stuff on the side. I was an advertising major though, because my parents were like, okay, you need to find something to do like more business wise with that creativity. So we felt like that advertising was a good medium. But you asked how did I get into that, or?
Yeah, kind of the design process.
Yeah, I have just always experimented with things. I've taught myself everything that I know, which I probably, speaking at a, educational place probably wouldn't like me saying, but always be practicing and learning new techniques and just experiment all the time.
Yes.
Can you share your Instagram or your TikTok accounts for each of us so we can follow you?
It is, okay, it's not on there. It's SOPHYROSY_shop. I'll say it again. SOPHYROSY_SHOP.
My Instagram is onelove.beads. Unfortunately, just One Love Beads was taken. And on TikTok, I'm just One Love Beads, but I don't really post that much on TikTok, so we're still working on that. But you can find me at One Love Beads.
I'm Saturday Silks everywhere. So I only have like 2 TikToks, so don't touch that.
Same.
How has your definition of creativity evolved from when you started your business to where you are right now?
I think when I first started and I had really no idea what a business was, and I was really just doing it. Like my first year, I made 2 sales and they were both to my mom. So my idea of creativity was like, I get to sit in my desk and make pretty things. Now my idea of creativity has much more to do with like innovative product design, thinking more about what the consumer wants while balancing it with what I enjoy making, what is creative to me, and unique. So like thinking creatively both in terms of how will this look in the end and how does the product actually function in the end. So like the earrings I'm wearing now, they're super cute, I'm really proud of them. But now I know they kind of end up like tilting all the time this way. So like my next reiteration of these, what new innovative ways am I going to use of like putting weights inside them to keep them tilting out and facing outward. So creativity has to deal both with just aesthetic and function now.
I started my business in 2019 during the Visco Girl phase. So I started out doing the beaded chokers and all those things. But now I focus more on what I like and my passions into my jewelry, which is the beach, the ocean. I love snorkeling, like I said. So I really want to make it my own now instead of just going with the trends of like a Visco Girl. That was in 2019.
Something that I've discovered as a small business owner is, I'm creative when I'm creating the actual product, but I'm also creative, when it comes to, what time of day am I going to post this Instagram, or how am I going to display this product, or how am I going to photograph this product? So it extends beyond just actually creating the product. It is like I'm creative in every aspect that I do. Just being an entrepreneur is creative.
So my question is, how did you find the courage to start your business? Because I feel like with some ideas that I have, I kind of have this fear that like when I start something, it has to be perfect and you know it has to work out. So I'm like scared of starting. So how do you kind of overcome that?
Don't be scared at all. It took me probably like 9 months to get my product what I thought was perfect at the time that I like launched it, which was my UT line. But it wasn't at that point. It wasn't even perfect. Like I've like perfected it more to this day. But still, I look at it like, oh, I should change this, or next run, I'm gonna add that. And so I'm always just iterating on things, and nothing is ever perfect.
I know it's easier said than believed, but I think a helpful thing to keep in your head is even if you were to get it to be perfect, your idea of perfect now is not going to be the same idea of perfect in 5 years. So if that is going to change inherently, you have flexibility to not be perfect and make mistakes, because even if you were, your standards will change. So I think maybe use that as a bit of freedom of like, I'm always going to be moving forward, so I can't foresee the end goal 20 years and make that now. That's unreasonable. Yeah.
I don't know how well I can answer this question because I'm still scared. Just go for it, because I feel like all entrepreneurs are in the same boat when you first get started, but you should just go for it. And I'm still telling myself, just go for it, because I'm nervous to post on TikTok or Instagram, but you just need to get over that hump.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Kind of piggyback off of that, like how do you overcome the like judgment of others, specifically like your friends or like, because like personal, like we mentioned like personal account versus like your business account, but like you want to advertise your business on your personal account sometimes. So it's like, how do you overcome the judgment of like friends in a way?
I'm actually struggling with this so bad because I'm a freshman in college, so I'm younger, so I feel like you're more prone for people talking about you behind your back or whatever, but I really am working on just not caring about it and just get over it, because if someone's going to talk bad about you behind your back, they're just jealous of you, and look what you're doing, all these great things that are changing the world.
Can I ask like if there's something specific you're scared of?
No, it's just like in terms of like expressing like creativity, it's like hard to like be creative whenever like other people's creativity doesn't align with like what you do. So it's like they're judging the way you're creative in a way.
It sounds to me like your first step needs to be to find your creative community. And that might not be here at UT, it might not be in Austin, it might be online. But that finding other people whose like brain works the same way and value your creativity in the same way will make you feel safer to express that and give you the courage to do so amongst your current friend group.
I would agree with that. You've gotta, it's gonna hurt, you've gotta, post and be confident in yourself, and be vulnerable with it too. It really is really hard, but the more you do it, the more confident in yourself that you're gonna become.
Any other questions?
I would be curious to hear from each of you, like what are some of the things that you find really challenging, either was really challenging and you to overcome, or is kind of just challenging in your day-to-day running the business?
My hardest part is dealing with licensing. We don't have to get into it, but it's really difficult, and a lot of stuff is out of my control, and as a control freak, that really sucks. But it's always, working within all these universities have really strict branding guidelines and stuff, so it always is something related to that. But I just try my best to really pay attention and make sure it's never going to be perfect, but it's tough. That's my hardest. That's the hardest thing that I have to overcome. Every single product that I make.
Definitely finding the time to work on my business since I'm so busy with school and orgs and all those things. So I'm actually really struggling with that right now. So I'm working on trying to make scheduled time on my Google Calendar to work on my business?
The biggest challenge I'm going through right now is I'm actually I'm kind of considering a total rebrand. I know we talked earlier about making products that serve me, and at the beginning I was making stuff I thought other people would like, but I really didn't. It was kind of soulless. I've gotten to a point in my art making process where my art has moved past the identity I've created for my brand, and if I were to try to keep that brand identity, I wouldn't be enjoying it myself, and the rest of you would be able to tell. So getting to that point of trying to be perfect for what I've created already, being scared to move forward. That's my biggest challenge now, is just like getting up the gumption to say, you know what, I'm gonna do a total rebrand, I'm gonna change, because at the end of the day, this business is made for me to be able to sell my art to people who love it. And maybe the people who love it will change as my art changes, but that's okay.
Shauna?
Okay, maybe you just touched on this, but I'd love to hear from each of you. What do you see for the future of your businesses?
I want to go to a UT football game and see, like when I go to football games, I'll see like maybe like 4 or 5 people wearing stuff. I'm like, oh, I'm just now working up the courage to go up to people and saying like, oh, I like your scarf. And they're like, oh, thank you. I'm like, I made that. so I'm just now getting to that point where I feel confident doing that. But what I hope in the future is that, I can look from just the stands and see, dozens and maybe like 100 scarves and more than that, like scarves on, the football screen and stuff. So yeah, scarves to the moon.
I hope to one day be big enough to be able to donate, like I said earlier, a portion of my profits directly to a family who are struggling with cancer, or young women who are struggling with cancer, whether it's they've lost a loved one or they're just battling it themselves. So that is my big goal.
As I talked about the rebrand, the reason I want to do this is because I want my art to be taken more seriously. And although the art I do now is really fun and joyful, sometimes it's taken more as like kids' art. People come up to my stand and be like, oh, I'm gonna buy this for my granddaughter. It's so cutesy, she'd love it. I'm like, anyone can wear this. But I think at the end of the day, the art I want to make and the art, the way I want my art to be taken seriously is a higher level. So in the future, I want my art to not be, I don't want to be selling $10 prints anymore. I want all my prints to be like a couple $100, originals a couple thousand. Like that's the dream. Is to be at like that upper echelon of like, my art isn't just crappy art, it's fine art.
Yes.
What do you think helped you figure out what kind of logistical stuff you like specifically materials you liked, or where to get it from, and just kind of that whole experimentation process? What do you think helped with that?
Getting stuff you don't like helps a lot. You're gonna with me practicing different materials and stuff and realizing ooh, this was not a good purchase, I wasted money on this, and that's okay. So give yourself room to experiment. I like to try to sometimes spend days making art that's bad, because even by doing that, I'm giving myself freedom to not be good. I end up creating ideas that will be really good. And try buying stuff or materials from lots of different places. If you are looking into certain types of products or ideas, look to who's already doing them, see if they're willing to give you that kind of information. There's always no harm in asking. Sometimes they gatekeep, but you can always ask.
I'm still really exploring, but I do get some of my beads and shells from my grandma, from her old jewelry that she's had throughout her life, and I just kind of she gives me a necklace and then I cut it up and then I make it my own. And I also love Amazon.
I've been lucky enough, my aunt, who is also part of the business with me, she worked for 20 plus years in the fashion industry as a designer and buyer, so I was lucky to have that, person with that kind of knowledge, but I know that's not the case for everyone. But it's been fun kind of taking what she knows in that realm and, expanding that when we have all these new product ideas. And so that's where we've been experimenting with, manufacturers overseas and stuff. And it's just getting stuff that you don't like and then figuring out from there.
All right, we have time for about 2 more questions, if anybody has any more. All right, I think think that's all then. Thank you all so much, and thank you guys for coming.